This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
How you doing, first of all? You hanging in there?
I'm good here, but I'm on airport Wi-Fi, so hopefully this works. If not, I'll be glad to switch over to the phone. You let me know.
No, dude, it sounds great. You got this
Perfect.
festive look back there with the trees and everything. It's a beautiful thing there. That's nice, man. Thank you very much.
I got to the airport early just to set up the backdrop for you to make it work. So this is our holiday special from the beautiful Cleveland Hopkins Airport.
I love it. I love it. Great job by you. Not a great job last night by the Heat. Obviously short of Butler and Tyler and stuff. So things didn't go well. 113-87. Cavs are actually a pretty damn good team overall. Miami not look on a night where I get it. He's not Mr. Offense, but he said he wanted to take 18 plus shots a game. Even Bam, on a night where he could have taken 28 shots in a game, still only took 14. But another ugly performance by the boys last night.
Yeah, Big O, but I was actually just looking through the box scores, and I did notice this. The Heat have not played a game with Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo in the lineup together since the November 1 home victory over the Warriors. So if you're going to tell me the Heat aren't a good team without Bam, I'll agree, like the losses we saw in Toronto and Washington. If you're going to say they're not a good team without Jimmy Butler, I mean, heck, we saw the playoff runs 2 of the last 3 years. He was everything. And Tyler Hero obviously is the offense they need. So if you're going to tell me the Miami Heat are a bad team when 2 of those 3 have missed games consistently, I'm going to fully agree with that. This is a league without a great margin of error, let alone a team without a great margin of error. If they don't get healthy soon, they're just going to keep stumbling because that's the way the league works. Look at the Dolphins with Tua and without Tua, 2 different football teams. I think the Heat are similar without Jimmy Butler and the rest of their guys also.
Last night, Kyle Lowry, after a terrific night the night before, last night, 31 minutes, 2 of 10, 1 of 7 from 3-point range, 3 assists, 5 turnovers. That's you needed Lowry to be good last night, and it's just he's really shown that he can really not be a lead player on this team at all. He can only facilitate on his best nights.
Again, he's 36 years old. You mentioned this when he signed a 3-year, $85 million contract at 35 years old. To expect someone at 36 to be an all-of-the-time player, there's only one guy in the league who meets that right now, and that's LeBron James. And everyone else, you get it some of the time. I think Kyle Lowry is fine as a number 4 option when you have Bam, when you have Jimmy, when you have Tyler. But when you don't is when more often than not, you wind up getting exposed in that situation. So again, it's really the other 3 guys not having to carry Kyle, but having to make it easier for him. They knew what they were doing when they signed a 35-year-old player. This is what you get. You get a fantastic 51-minute performance in Washington, and then you get something far less. Hey, look, Big O, I'm off to Minnesota right now for a game against the Timberwolves tonight. What do you think Kyle Lowry at 36 is going to have on the second night of a back-to-back?
No, I don't expect him to have much at this point.
If he plays, yeah.
If he plays. So what do we know about all these injuries? What's going to happen? When are we getting these guys back? Because you're falling deeper into the abyss now. You're 7-10. You're 3 games under 500. I don't even expect you to win tonight against Minnesota.
Oh, I don't see how. They're 9-point favorites, and once the Heat injury report comes out, they'll probably be even larger favorites. Minnesota is not listing a single injury on their injury report. They have 3 players in the G League, everyone else available. With Jimmy, it's a matter of he wants to make sure he feels right. And honestly, Big O, I think Jimmy at 33 is at a point in his career where he figures he could take about quarter of the schedule off every year. And that's not acceptable for this team and where they are. If this was a team like the Celtics with Robert Williams being prudent with his knee, I have no issue with that. If this was a team like the Bucks where Brook Lopez was very careful last season, I have no issue. But as you mentioned, there's no margin of error. Jimmy Butler can't be a missed 20 games player, even if he wants to. So I am curious how he deals with this knee pain because they need him Wednesday against Washington. They need him Wednesday against Washington, Friday against Washington. Because then look at the trip. They are right back out on the road next Sunday at Atlanta, at Boston, at Memphis. So it's almost like those 2 home games are must-win games just to stay close to 500. So you have that. You have Tyler Hero with the ankle sprain, who the Heat were fully expecting to be on this trip. And then as the plane was leaving for Toronto last week, he goes, no, I'm going to stay behind. I'm going to work on my ankle here. I don't think that's what the team was expecting. There was a thought he was going to meet the team yesterday here in Cleveland. He didn't make the trip. So again, it's what you always talk about and everyone talks about. There are injuries and there is pain. You don't play through an injury because you can make things worse. But if you're a professional, you play through pain. So you have that going on. And to his credit, Bam pushed back as hard as he could, took the trip, traveled with the team, missed 2 games, but came back last night. So I think of all 3, I think Bam has shown the most so far from that degree.
How many games has Tyler missed in his career already? Because I'm starting to look to me like he's an injury-prone player now. Because it's like every year. It seems like every year he's missing games, right?
Yeah, the answer would be a lot. And again, when you look at that kind of build he has, and he had spent time in the gym trying to put muscle on, but it's almost the same thing as Nikola Jovic right now. When you are more spindly and like that, you tend to be more prone for those kind of things. We know the Heat have a very good conditioning department, have a very good weight training staff. But with Tyler, it's been sort of all these little knick-knack injuries that add up over the year. Yeah, we've seen that the last 3 seasons. The Heat need Tyler Hero at that pay grade going forward to be an everyday player. The fact is that the Heat have so many guys who aren't everyday players. That tells you right now why this season's a crap show.
I'm starting to think that, damn, dude, I feel bad for him. It seems like they've made a lot of bad decisions lately. I don't know if this Tyler contract's any good. I don't think the Duncan contract's not looking good the way you're playing him and what you're paying him. The Lowry contract's absolutely terrible. The Butler contract, the back end of it is going to be absolutely horrible because he's
but Big O, I'm going to interrupt you there because the Butler deal on the back.
You're paying Bam to be a franchise player, and he's a super role player.
I'll go through those right now. First of all, you're paying Bam what the market dictated. And if you didn't, someone else would have. And for a team that doesn't have a lot of draft choices and deals draft choices, you have to pay the market. You can get stuck a little. Yes. So what you do is you're paying a star player superstar money. You're behind the curve. The Jimmy thing is that's what you had to do. Let's be honest, Big O. 2020 NBA Finals, Jimmy was everything anyone in the league was at that time.
Been awesome.
And last season in the playoffs, I know he missed the 3, but he was as good as anyone through 3 rounds also. So you have to pay the back end to get that right now. I have no issue. The thing about Tyler is the money doesn't kick until next season. Maybe it clicks. Maybe he gets it then. So I'm going to wait on that. Kyle was always to keep Jimmy happy. They could. I wrote that on my Ask Ira today at the Sun Sentinel. When people go, the Heat are letting Jimmy down. They're not surrounding him with talent. He is the one who asked for Kyle Lowry. He made his bed. And when you make your bed like that, you have to live with it. Because believe me, if Jimmy Butler wasn't pushing that hard for Kyle Lowry, I am sure that Andy Ellisberg and Pat Riley and Adam Simon and Nick Harrison probably would have had better ways to spend their money and also not had to give up on Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa. So really, this is what Jimmy wished for. Now it's up to him to make it work.
Yeah, but it's easy for him and Kyle to live with it because they got big fat ass salaries. Jimmy's got his Michelob and his airplane, but it's the fans that have got to watch their old asses break down under those contracts. And Jimmy's going to know the position that he's in, like, wow, I screwed up by bringing this guy in because now I can't complain because I brought him in and then he can't get it done because he's too old. So now I'm in a rock and a hard place. Well, I guess I'm going to Lupe Fiasco. I'm going to kick, push, and coast.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy has that in him. I think the one thing about Jimmy, and maybe that's why he hasn't played the last couple of games, I think if Jimmy plays, he goes all in and all out. Maybe the injuries might limit him, but he's always going to push himself. I mean, what he did on that block against Devin Booker at the end of the game against Phoenix, that was just 1 week ago. What he did against Charlotte with that 35-point game that he put together. He plays hard. He might not play all the time, but when he plays hard. But you're right. Those contracts right now on the Heat overall scale do not look good. But this is what this franchise has always done, Big O. They sell their soul for the home run. They sold their Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley soul for Victor Oladipo on the hope it would be something. That's another guy who hasn't been here all season. That makes a difference also. So you know what? You always talk about this, Big O. We're impressed because Pat Riley swings for the fences. But you know what happens when you swing for the fences all the time? You wind up like John Carlos Stanton, and you wind up striking out a lot as well.
Yeah, it's and that's what it looks like right now. So let me ask you, is there a deadline of implosion? Is there a deadline where you just say, this is looking like the DeVille Hotel. We need to kind of
tear it down.
We need to kind of tear it down. And if we can move anything that we can possibly move, we do it. Is there anything to move? And you tell me, or is it come hell or high water? This is what we got, boys. Let's get to it.
The sort of inside story on this team has always been this. They wait till the trade deadline. They wait to midseason. They wait to see if there's still a chance. If you remember in 2008, then all of a sudden you brought in Kasip Powell and Stephon Losmy and Blake Ahern. You went in that direction. We've seen them do that before. The year they got the Justice Winslow pick when they played all those guys in Philadelphia the last game of the season, 48 minutes. But it won't be this early. Because I got to tell you, Big O, I don't know how it can happen cap-wise. But if you take this team and it's healthy and you simply add in a Jay Crowder, I think it could turn on a dime. Now, I don't know how you're going to make that happen, but I think as long as Pat Riley and the front office see an escape hatch, they're more likely to pursue that outcome than to kick it all to the can. Now, I will say this. The next time you see all the Heat coaches taking French lessons, that's when I'll say they're sort of putting it aside and moving to the lottery.
All right. Do we know injury-wise anything going into this game tonight? Because I just fear watching. I mean, watching it last night was it was tough to watch, man.
Well, God, again, you know that Tyler. Yeah, you know that Tyler and Jimmy and Omar Yurtseven are back in Miami. You know that Victor Oladipo is traveling and not playing. You know that Gabe Vincent left the locker room wearing a knee brace yesterday. Duncan Robinson left the locker room hobbling because he had the ankle sprain. So all of those guys could be out. So it basically could be the same we saw last night, except it'll be Kyle Lowry on the second night of a back-to-back and Bam with a knee bruise on the second night of a back-to-back. So I think that's what's going to make it more interesting tonight. I'm not sure interesting is the right word.
The Miami MASH unit on the road tonight in Minnesota. All right. Ira, be safe in your travels, my friend. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and subscribe to his exceptional work at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, we will catch you on Wednesday, my friend. Thank you.
I'm going to try to grab one of these Christmas trees and get it on the plane. Don't know if I can pull it off, but we'll see. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There you go. We look forward to Ira being on the news. It's ugly. It's ugly. You know, I love Bam, the player and the person, but as you all know, I don't look at him as a franchise player. In order for you to be a franchise player in the NFL and in the NBA, here's my definition of today's NBA player. Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace. They could be superstars back in the day. Basketball was different then. In today's basketball, defense doesn't dominate anymore because all the rules are offense. So in order for you to be a superstar in this league, in my definition of a superstar, you must be able to impose your will offensively, something that Bam Adebayo cannot do. Okay? I'm at that point now, by the way. Not if, or he can, or he's got it. No, he can't do it. It's not in him. Jimmy Butler. We've gotten the best you could possibly get out of Jimmy Butler already. I don't know how much more you're going to get out of it. I don't believe you're going to get that much more out of it. In fact, I think it's only going to get worse from here on out. And that body can only do one thing, break down from here on out, because it's got a lot of mileage, a lot of wear and tear. And remember, because some people like to, harp on the minutes, it's also the practice time that he went through with Thibodeau. I put a lot of mileage on that body. Kyle Lowry, I never liked that deal from the get-go, and it's proven 1,000% right that it's a shit contract. Okay? Duncan Robinson, while I understand why you had to pay him, but you had to move him, unfortunately. He's too limited offensively. Not just defensively. He can only shoot. Doesn't do enough anything else in the offensive game. Tyler Hero is a sack of injuries. Constantly injured. So you want him to build up his body so he can play better defense. I want him to build up his body so it doesn't break down. And then you sign Victor Oladipo, a guy that you've been waiting for to recapture the magic of 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. Not going to happen, man. So unfortunately, as much as I love the Heat, I think they have tied themselves down to a lot of bad contracts. Again, by the way, like they did with the Journeyman. And they tied themselves down to the Johnsons, right? And the Whiteside. And was the other, the two Johnsons, Whiteside, and Deion Jordan. My God. You gave a man a contract that you knew needed surgery. So I got to tell you something. They've gotten a lot of production. They were a shot away from the NBA Finals, all those things. Good things have happened, the last couple of years. I don't know if it's going to continue, to be quite honest. I just don't think these were good decisions. So it sucks. That is your Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.